All right, proceeding on. I try not to make the videos too long. But anyway, undoubtedly, some of Israel's refugees found new homes in Israel's colonies in Spain, Britain, Ireland, and even North America. So we had Israelite refugees flee to different countries in Europe and in America. With the culture, religion, and even the dialect of Tyre and Sidon, migrating Israelites would have quickly lost their Israelite identity and would be known to us simply as Phoenicians, Iberians, Celts, and Celtibernians. Let's see. What's next? Page 121. Or would you rather migrate with your families to new homelands where you could remain free and start over again? Obviously, the latter option is what most of them chose. Only a few thousand diehards stayed to withstand a siege in the capital city. This is when the Assyrians captured us. Those who chose to leave the doomed kingdom of Israel, which this is talking about the northern kingdom, right? It's not talking about Judah right now, had many potential destinations as options for new homelands. We have already seen that the Phoenician alliance of Israel, Tyre, and Sidon had established many colonies in North Africa, Spain, and other Mediterranean locations, the British Isles, and even as far as North America. So Israelites came to America to avoid the persecution. All right, page 139. Its maritime, this is talking about Carthage. Its maritime empire came to include portions of 3 continents: Africa, Europe, and North America. So Carthage had parts of Africa locked down, Europe and North America locked down. Additionally, it almost destroyed Rome, its arch rival. Page 141. While the Hebrew word Kirjath was the name given to this new city by its inhabitants, the Greeks called it Carchedon, and the Romans called it Cathargo. Both Greece and Rome were perennial enemies of Carthage. Since our history of the ancient world comes mostly from Greco-Roman sources, we today refer to this ancient city, Hebrew city, as Carthage, the name given it by its enemies. So to call them Carthaginians, that's basically agreeing with what the white man called them. That's like calling yourself black now. You know, my jersey's black. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's skin color matched my jersey. Many historians, Alfred Church, Gilbert and Colette, Charles Picard, and B.H. Warmington, who have written books about Carthaginian history, have commented that the chief magistrates of Carthage were called Shafetim, a Hebrew word for judges. The ancient Hebrew is Shapatiyim. It is also interesting that the Carthaginian leaders assumed the titles of judges instead of the more regal title of kings. So they would rather be called judges than kings. Page 140, Deuce. One Carthaginian leader with the title king was named Malchus. Malchus is another Hebrew name, Malak, and was still being used by the Hebrews at the time of Yahushua. Of the Hamilcars, this is Hannibal, one of the Hamilcars bore the surname Barca, and Barca is the same as the Hebrew Barak. Carthage's priests were called the Kohanim, and the high priest was called the Rab Kohanim. The terms are rendered Cohen and Rab Kohanim by Warmington. We can clearly see the Hebrew root words for the terms rabbi and the modern Jewish names Khan, Cohen, and Kahain. The Hebrew Carthaginian word Kohanim simply means priests, and the word Rab means great, mighty, or elder. All right, let's see. Just bear with me a moment. Because there's a lot that I'm skipping here because just for time purposes, everything's not that important. Let's see, I think this is where I'm proceeding at. Okay. In fact, wait. Since Greece and Rome were mostly land empires rather than maritime empires, maritime means, you know, they actually had a navy and they did a lot of shit with ships, trading and stuff. So, so since Greece and Rome were mostly land empires rather than maritime empires like Israel and Carthage, the Greeks and Romans were profoundly ignorant of some scientific knowledge that maritime powers had possessed for many centuries. In fact, Carthage and Israel/Phoenicia knew vastly more about the geography of the spherical earth than the ancient Greeks and Romans ever knew. So the Carthaginians already back then knew that the earth was round. For these motherfuckers that think it's flat. They had mistakenly believed the ancient Greco-Roman propaganda that Greece and Rome, this is talking about modern academics by the way, that Greece and Rome were the most advanced cultures of the ancient world. Greece and Rome were advanced in many aspects of civilization, but they were ignoramuses compared to the Carthaginians in the field of oceanic navigation and the awareness of world geography that results from the transoceanic voyages. The Carthaginians did not want the Greeks or Romans to learn about the wealth of North America and other places accessible only to a maritime power. Maritime means sea, or by sea. That is why they went to great pains to keep the Greeks and Romans shut out of the Atlantic Ocean. They wanted to keep the wealth of the rest of the Earth's territories to themselves and retain the obvious commercial advantage that a monopoly over the Atlantic coastlands gave them. If the ancient Carthaginians could have known that over 2 millennia into the future, nations would be teaching their school children that no one in the ancient old world could have known about the new world because the Greeks and Romans didn't know about it, the Carthaginians would have roared with laughter. So, in other words, it would have been funny to the ancient Carthaginians that the world now is being taught that the world didn't know about Greece, about America, because Greece and Rome didn't know about it. They would have fucking laughed. Indeed, because think about it, they kept it a secret. So it says, indeed, if Carthage had defeated Rome instead of vice versa, later European civilizations would never have inherited the idea that the world was flat. We already know that Carthage was dominant in the western Mediterranean areas of Spain and North Africa. Sardinia, western Sicily, and other coastal areas of the western Mediterranean were frequently under their control. However, the maritime commercial empire of Carthage extended far beyond the Gibraltar. Carthage had long been involved with the tin and copper trade of Britain and the amber trade of the Baltic Sea area. This would place the Carthaginian traders as far north as Poland and the Baltic states. Poland. You know, just like the brother Shamar from the New York camp did a video, you know, speaking Polish. A lot of them are Israelites. So it says, during the Punic Wars, ancient America likely became the refuge for an unknown number of Carthaginians fleeing from Roman conquerors. The discovery in Georgia of an atlatl stone, a spear-hurling device with a Punic inscription, or Carthaginian, from the 2nd century BC supports such a conclusion. Let's see. Nigel Davies, in his book Voyagers to the New World, cites an account by the ancient Greek historian geographer Herodotus that the Carthaginians mounted an expedition of 30,000 men and women in 60 ships in 500 to 480 BC and sent them westward into the Atlantic towards an unknown destination. So that's 30,000 men that came from Carthage to here. Assuming Greek account to be accurate, the Carthaginian expedition averaged 500 persons per ship. The presence of Carthaginian coins, artifacts, and inscriptions in ancient North America reveal where ancient Carthaginian colonial expeditions such as this one headed. Let's see. What else? Page 161. Mind you, I'm only reading the main stuff. If you read the whole book, you would know. You should already know by the stuff I'm reading. Christianity originated as an old world religion in the 1st century AD, so this ancient grave marker indicates that Christianity spread to North America soon after it originated. So in other words, we didn't learn Christianity from the fucking white man. We learned the original, following Yahushua all the way back then. We were up to date. Evidence that Carthaginians had sought refuge in the New World also exists in the Mayan ruins of Mexico. The Mayan ruins of Mexico. He writes, the truly inscribed bricks fall into several classes. Inscriptions made up some 77 of the inscribed bricks, while drawings are only 20%. So in other words, 77 of them, those bricks in the Mayan ruins of Mexico, had writing. 20% of them had drawings. Some 58% of the inscribed bricks are in Maya hieroglyphs, while 18% are in what appear to be Old World languages. Old World languages, such as Hebrew. All right. That's why I tell brothers, man, get into this history, man. Iberian Punic gravestones were found in Michigan, and Iberian Punic inscriptions also appear in Massachusetts. Also, a creation chant of the Pima Indians was first transliterated into Roman letters by an ethnologist from the U.S. Bureau of Ethnology in 1901 to 1902. The Mayan civilization lasted for almost 2 millennia, approximately 400 BC, until its demise at the hands of the Spaniards in the 16th century AD. Now, let's look at these dates, right? Assyrian captivity was in 722 to 721 BC. 300 years later is the Maya civilization. So they had to have been there for quite a while. Think about it. They didn't just come here and create a great civilization. They had to get great as a civilization. That time probably took about those 300 years in between. Mayan beginnings coincided with Carthage's presence in the New World and continued through the period of Carthaginian flights from the Punic Wars. It is possible, given the cultural contact between the two civilizations over centuries, that the Mayans learned the practices of human sacrifice from the Carthaginians. Also, it is impossible to escape the similarity between the pyramids of the Mayans and those of Egypt. All right, reading on, Rome took 50,000 Carthaginians captives, a paltry total compared to the earlier accounts of Carthage's population, meaning that 50,000 Carthaginians is a very small number compared to how many Carthaginians there actually was. So they didn't take a lot of them in captivity. Get into this history, Israel. After the fall of Carthage, Roman access to the New World was no longer blocked. Roman coins and artifacts from the period after the fall of Carthage and Latin inscriptions have been widely found in the New World. Coins minted under 4 Roman emperors were found in Massachusetts. A large cache of Roman coins from the reigns of all the emperors from the first 3 centuries after Christ, Yahushua, was found in Venezuela, and individual Roman coins have been unearthed in Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, and North Carolina. Roman oil lamps have been found in Alabama and Connecticut. And Dr. Barry Fell makes the case that the Romans had a fur trading post in Wyoming where petroglyphs depict Roman coin designs from 50 BC to 20 AD. Now remember, to the white man, you know, they didn't know about this new world. Clearly, this is something I'm adding to it. It's a lot. This is likely because, remember, Israel became the Roman Empire after 193 AD. So that's probably why. Because otherwise, from all the way during the time of the Roman Empire, we would have so-called knew about America. You know, but anyway, I'm going to cut this video to start again.